Good morning, and thank you for inviting me onto your program. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I don't think I'm in pole position. I wouldn't say that's what it is. All I'll say is that in the last 3 months, that's me and my team, and I have a very strong and competent team. We've worked very hard. We've traveled to every nook and cranny of the state. We've met as many people in the party as possible, people of every philosophical bend, and we've done a lot of talking to the common man and the woman on the streets. We've visited markets, we've gone to places. So we've worked hard. We've tried hard to connect with the people, to find out what our problems are individually, collectively, and then as a state, what the issues are, where we can meet people, the meet point. So that's what we've been doing the last 3 months. And we've up until yesterday, that's what we've been doing. So if you say anything has helped us become better known and better assessed, I would say that's what it is. We've just worked very hard. I work with a team that hardly sleeps. I hardly sleep too. And we're on the road nearly 24/7. We're working, we're thinking, we're pushing, we're begging. So I think that's what it is. But I wouldn't think we're in pole position. I think that we have a better feel. People have a better feel of us. They have a better understanding of what we're bringing to the table, and by the grace of God Almighty, what we will do for the people of Edo State to move the state into prosperity. And I think people are now believing our story. There's been a lot of skepticism in the environment. People don't like, or people are wary of politicians and what politicians tell them these days. So in many places I went to, what I hear is that we've heard this before. What's going to be different? What's different? And I've had to spend a considerable amount of time trying to explain and persuade people and explain to them why this time I will definitely, by God's grace and with the help of the good people of Edo State and the hard work of my team at every level, be different, And so that's what I think has been what's helped us.
Thank you, sir. You have used industry-specific words like Asue will become a sports hall, Edo Central and parts of Edo North will become a massive rice belt. And this has glued to the mind of some of the stakeholders.
What we've done and what we continue doing is carrying out an audit, a statewide audit, as to where we have comparative advantage. Every part of our state is resourced, extremely well resourced. And our audit reveals where we have comparative advantage. For instance, in the Ovia area is the palm belt and the rubber belt, every part, in the Benin area, we're lucky we have gas, passing through substantial parts of Benin, especially the Obaha local government area, and that really will be a massive industrial area, So we take the advantages we have, and we're working with them. We are going to be data-driven. We're going to work with data. We're going to run through soil tests across the state. So what is best to be planted in what area? What kind of fertilizer support? What kind of agricultural extension support, so that we can get the best yield, the best products, In the north, it will definitely be a cashew belt, Parts of central, probably cassava, maize, and rice, things like that. So it's going to be data-driven. We're going to work with data. We're going to work with what's best from which area, so we can get maximum yield, maximum production, how best to support our agriculture, how best to support our farmers, how best to move quickly away from subsistence to really mechanized farming, route to markets, where the markets are, what's the best market option, exports, how do we get to the ports. Hopefully we will push the Benin port project. If we push the Benin project, that'll be a massive, massive boost to the economy, at least $10 billion to the Edo economy. So there's a lot that can be done, and we are doing the work. What we want to do, we're not guessing. It's going to be data-based. Fortunately, also, the government of Governor Obaseki has worked primarily on data-driven database, and there's a lot of data that has been compiled to date. So we'll build on it, and we'll go to areas where they don't have data. But that's the best way to, when we're in 21st century, this is 2024, guessing government has gone,
Joseph, primaries, regardless of who wins?
I don't see it as 9 aspirants against me in that sense, like as if it's a gang up. It may appear so. I think each aspirant has his own ambition or her ambition. Each one. The 9 of them can't be 9 governors. It has to be one at a time. So I guess everybody has different thinking on this, but each aspirant is clear that they want to be the choice of the people of Edo State. So that's how I see it, and I see each person one by one. But I have a good relationship with practically all the aspirants. We're on great talking terms, and I've reached out to as many of them as possible for us to find a common ground to work together. And by the grace of God, if I'm elected by the good people, I know all of them will work with me. And if any of them is elected, I will work with them. My game plan and my goal is what is in the best interest of the people of Edo State. Really. And I keep saying it, my favorite word, I see a path, and that path is clear, and I can deliver on that path. If there's anybody amongst the aspirants that can deliver better than I, and the people think so, I'll fall in line, But I just see a path, and I'm trying to explain the path, and I'm trying to explain where I'm taking Edo State people to by God's grace. If God gives us long life, good health, and I continue working with the kind of and the caliber of intellectual firepower that we're working with today, and we put in and bring in a lot more, because then we'll be able to have the locals to bring in a lot more people into the team with even more diversified capabilities from the diaspora, locally, nationally, primarily Edo State people. In areas where we don't have full skills, we look for 1 or 2 other people that can give us full skills. My ambition is, by the grace of God, to move Edo State into prosperity. And I see that it can be done. It just takes creative thinking and a lot of hard work. To move Edo State from where we are, which is a third world base, into the first world, and it can be done. India is doing it. India 8-9 years ago were far down. They were poverty capital of the world. Today they're moving and knocking on the door of the first world. So it's doable. It's more difficult in our circumstance as a sub-sovereign, because we're under a sovereign, and we're sometimes constrained by the capabilities and performance of that sovereign. So that makes it even more difficult, and we'll be having to work 5 times as hard, but we'll put in the work. But it's not undoable. It has happened elsewhere in the world, where a sub-sovereign has done so much better than the sovereign, and then by that way help pull up the sovereign. Okay, and I'm hoping that Edo State and I see a number of great governors in place from the class of May 2023, and I know that if we all kind of work together from bottoms up, we'll be able to help the federal government to pull up Nigeria. And the federal government needs all the help it can get, and I think the sub-sovereigns now should focus, because the sub-sovereigns are closer to the people. It's just that the way our constitution is written out, the federal government carries disproportionate responsibility. And I think we need to spread out that responsibility. We need to maybe take a look at part of what was the 1963 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and devolve some of those exclusive responsibilities to the states. And then, obviously, you'll have to devolve some more cash to the states, But I think states also should start thinking through how they will up their revenue from their own internal generated resources, from other people's money. And the best way to attract other people's money is to run a great government, transparent, accountable, with high integrity. Then it's easier for people to trust you with their money. So we're just hoping we'll try and drive a revolution in Nigeria through what we do in Edo State. Yeah.
Finally, the PDP end of
No, not at all. I haven't made any public pronouncement or comment, because I think what's more in my place is to continue talking to delegates, and campaigning, and trying to get as many delegates on side as possible. So I've avoided making any public pronouncement. But the ward congresses that I saw on 4th of February, that I participated in, and I went around particularly Eastern Land a bit, because I was in my local government and my ward in Ewohimi and the local government, and I went around other local governments in Eastern Land, and what I saw was really, really inspiring. It actually reminded me of the 1993 Abiola election, the option A4. I saw people queuing. I didn't see any rancor. I saw well-conducted elections. And I saw videos from other parts of the state, from the north. It was only in one part of the north, at Sako Central, I think, that there was the kidnapping of some officials, and so the elections couldn't be conducted. But the video footage I saw from other parts just replicated what I saw physically. And I thought it was a very well conducted election, a very well conducted process. So when I heard people complaining about it, I don't know what they saw. So I don't want to stand in their place. What I saw and what many other people saw was a well-conducted election. I think people didn't think it would be well conducted, so they chose not to participate. I think people thought there were plans underhand, and so. But what I saw and what I witnessed, I thought it was a brilliant election. I have not seen many elections in Nigeria, and I've been through many elections in Nigeria that well conducted. I was pleasantly surprised because I expected it to be a lot more, uncertainty, bad planning. I expected that there would be maybe people running all over the place and pushing each other, but it was well conducted. And I saw people disciplined, patient. Many went to church, came back after church, stood on their canopies, lined up behind their candidate. They were counted, results were publicly announced, and then I think everything took off from there. So what the chairman of the electoral committee said, 100% agree with him, Governor Mba, 100%, and people that are honest to themselves, who have seen the video footage, who have seen what transpired, will agree 100%. I give kudos to the National Working Committee of the party for conducting those elections so efficiently. Honestly, I'm really proud to be a member of the PDP, truly proud, and I can't fault those elections. I will understand some people will say, what do I want to say? I don't know what they mean by that, because the delegates are delegates who we all have to now start convincing, and that's the work I've been trying to do since the delegates were elected. Talk to them one by one, reach out to them, convince them why I think I'm the best candidate for the party, and I've been doing that with little sleep, and I'll continue doing it up until we get into the stadium on Thursday. And I think that's what everybody should be doing instead of sitting down somewhere complaining. So, thank you.